Hello again from the Ant Wife's Garden. Let's try a video that's right side up. We're going to take just a brief tour to show you what I've done since I did the upside down video. So we've moved the lemon tree to its summer home, and I purposely put the face that has more growth under the shade and less growth towards the sun. It gets more westerly sun, more afternoon sun here. Hoping that it'll flush out. I planted over 260 nasturtiums. So in the front here, around the lemon tree, we're going to do Empress of India and some sort of yellow star. So it starts out yellow and then gets red spots and turns red. So it should be really pretty. And I went up behind the cabbage with that. Down here all around the lemon tree. Under the saffron, so north of the saffron, between the oregano and the rosemary. Over here. I don't know where these pots are going to go. This is a tea rose that my son gave me for Mother's Day. So eventually I'm going to plant that out, but I'm just not sure where. So right now it's going to live here. The sage came through the winter nicely. Here around the rock is where I'm going to put my squash. I think I can get one, excuse me, 2, 3, 4, perhaps 5 if I don't pay attention to the walkway. Maybe a couple more if I put them up here north of where the garlic is right now. That's later in the season. As you see, I've got my peppers and eggplants out. I'm experimenting with where I want to put them because I'm not going to put them in the ground for at least another week. We're supposed to get a cold snap, not a killing frost or anything, but where the nights will get down into the mid-40s, and I don't want to leave my eggplants out for that. The peppers may make it, but the eggplant almost certainly won't. So all this disturbed ground. There's more nasturtiums coming up the sidewalk. Here, across this top, I'm going to put marigolds. So I stopped with the nasturtiums. We'll see over here again. My pea shoots are coming up nicely. Pea shoots. And eventually that's where the cucumbers are going to go. I'm probably going to space them out a little bit more and maybe turn them a little bit. So basically make a crosshatch, crosshatch from where they are right now. My lettuce, my leaf lettuce is looking really nice. I'm not sure what's going to happen when the trees leaf out. This area here to up here is always very challenging because it's sunny in the winter and shady in the summer. So I think lettuce is probably my best bet. Speaking of lettuce, my little butter crunch head lettuce turned out nicely. I think I'm going to have those for dinner soon. The sage and the catnip, I'm not sure where they're going to live. They're just marking places for where my rows of okra are going to go. I need to sow some okra indoors. You see this disturbed earth? These are rows of a different type of nasturtium. So I got a mahogany mix. They're cream and mahogany, and a bush blush, orchid flame I think it is. So it should be yellow and white and brown, which should transition nicely from these, orange and red, into red, white, and brown. Okay, and again, I'm going to put my okra here. I also planted some nasturtiums over here and over there by the olive tree. See, I moved all of my containers out. These are going to have just tomatoes. I'm just going to put tomatoes there. The smaller one might get a pepper instead. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Got my basil. Got a ton more basil. I got to figure out where I'm going to put that. Ooh, I didn't plan ahead. You might have noticed that I trimmed the bottom leaves off of my Brussels sprouts. They were starting to sprout up at the top, so I clipped those and tried to redirect the energy down to the side shoots. So maybe I'll get a couple of Brussels sprouts. Again, we've got our chives and parsley right next to the walkway, starting to sprout. So again, that part of the walkway, down there in the sunny part, is going to be nasturtiums. mostly Empress of India, and that yellow star I was talking about. These are going to be chives and parsley with the mahogany nasturtiums. So I should have lots of nasturtiums. And then I planted a few more up here. Well, looks like we're finally getting some sprouts from the parsley and chives I planted up here. Some of those are oh look, there's a good flush. Some of these are invariably these little pines, but that's okay. I can weed. Let's see. We hung the hanging baskets, and I very specifically hung them like that so they kind of make a little smiley face in size. I also had my husband put up a birdhouse back here. Oh look, let's dally for a moment with a camellia. I do hope it blooms soon. I believe this is a pink one, and I think if we get a nice flush of rain without any more freezing, we should be fine. So, haven't done anything with the side yard, so we're just gonna ignore it. But I have started landscaping in the gnome garden. Since the red and white ones came out first, they get to go in first. I'm gonna leave all of these in pots, impatiens, because, for a couple of reasons. Because come July, I expect powdery mildew to decimate them, so I can move in a couple and clone them so that I'll have more impatiens for the fall around September when you can grow them again. And also this way I can kind of change up the look. You see some of them come out red, and some of them look just a little different color. Maybe these are actually the salmon orange, I don't know. Because there are supposed to be 4 different colors in the hybrid mix. So far I've seen red and white, pink and white, and the purple and white finally came out. So I'm thinking this might actually be a different varietal. But you know what, live and learn. And eventually these ones that are in small ones, when I put the peppers in the ground, they'll get a big pot. I don't have a problem retransplanting them. Azaleas and wisteria in bloom, along with camellias. You see the chickens, I'm gonna go let them out in a second. I also need to clean up some of my bee boxes. Don't look, it's not pretty. So, see, we got a pretty purple one. So far that's the only one of that color, and that is my favorite color. We also have this nice pink one. We've got 2 of those. I still have quite a few to bloom out. See, my white ones are being really, really slow. Cherry Splash are not that much better, although they look like they may bloom eventually. And I want to put the Cherry Splash mostly in the window boxes that are hanging off the balcony, because I think it'll be a nice little break between the purple below and the purple above. See some more red and whites coming out. In my bryophyte garden, very proud of my bryophyte garden. Oh, come look at the pretty yellow cauliflower I found it growing on a log on a mossy bank, so I'm trying to help it along there. We'll see if it works. Chickens are dying to come out. I'm gonna let them out a little bit. You already met them yesterday and meet the chickens. So we're gonna take one quick look at the hives. So I checked Friday? Yeah, 2 days ago. And both of the queens had been released from the package. Let's zoom in on the entrances. There we go. Both the queens had been released from the packages, and they had drawn 3/4 of the comb on the empty frame that the queen was hanging from. I did not see eggs, but I'll admit that I didn't really look that hard. So my plan is to leave them alone until Thursday or Friday or whenever it gets warm this week. And I have some drawn comb that Hygeia, she's gonna keep that name, the one on the right, Hygeia might need another box, but the other no-name hive was not using the 2 outer frames, which looked a little moldy, to be honest, so I may need to switch those frames out for them. Regardless, they are looking pretty good, as you can see. If we got closer, we could see they're bringing in tons of pollen. They're not taking the sugar water, so they seem to be doing well. Yes, chickens, I'll be right back, I promise. We're gonna do one last little look in the green room and see what's still coming out that I have to find room for. I always overplant. I have a feeling that I'll be giving my neighbors some wonderful little seedlings. So, back in the green room, shelves are largely empty, although we do still have some type strains of things I'm trying to grow out. Some more peppers. These were the later peppers. My azalea, I'm very proud of my azalea. Some thyme I need to put out eventually. My aloe needs to go out eventually. This poor little habanero, or is it the jalapeno? This poor little jalapeno got really damaged by something or other. So it's in the nursery. These are all my super hot peri-peri peppers. They need to start being hardened off. Marigolds, more marigolds. Basil, catnip, and tomatoes.